We are two Brits living in the United States. We are continuously being asked for our insights and our thoughts from friends and from people we just meet in our everyday lives into the latest happenings concerning our British royal family.
You'll be aware of the latest sad news that Catherine, Princess of Wales, has been diagnosed with cancer and is currently undergoing treatment. While her condition was originally thought to be non-cancerous, cancer was found in her system following abdominal surgery, and she is now in the early stages of preventative chemotherapy.
Americans absolutely love our royal family.
They do.
It's really funny because they always know more than we do.
So I think the fact that they love our royal family and the fact that Americans are known for loving a conspiracy theory as well has really just amplified things out here the last few months. The other thing I've noticed out here as well is the huge outpouring of sympathy. For me personally, being British, because this news is following the news about King Charles III as well and his cancer diagnosis, which is following reasonably recently on from the death of the Queen and the death of Prince Philip. And it's actually been really lovely how concerned people are for British people.
I think the concern is with her diagnosis, how difficult it must be for her. As she said, she's got a young family.
Yeah.
And her and William need to be careful about how this diagnosis affects them. Things do get to children. Other children talk, they overhear things. So I can understand why Kate and William were hesitant on making the subject public.
I do understand that. I just don't know if this has necessarily spared the children any hurt, really.
Yeah.
I mean, not that that's their fault at all, but with all of the wild theories that have been going on, not to keep dragging things up, but cheating rumours, divorce rumours, death rumours, and other terrible things as well. How much have the children actually been spared?
That's a very good point. Blame should be put at the palace's doorstep, their press department, because that's what they're there for.
Yeah.
And they obviously have not done a very good job. In fact, they've been fueling the flames, really.
I think it's fair to say that they have messed up. I was going to say something else then, but I stuck with messed up.
Yeah.
Obviously no one could have prepared for this particular situation, but they must have some kind of system in place for when a royal becomes sick. If they don't, then clearly they need to. Because unfortunately it's going to happen at some point, isn't it?
Of course,
And it just seems like they were horrendously unprepared for how to deal with it, and unfortunately a lot of people have suffered because of that.
It is so sad, isn't it? Because not only have they had to go through the diagnosis, but they've had to go through all of this media fury, people saying very unkind and hurtful things about them.
Yeah, and I just can't help but feel like it was all so avoidable had it just been handled better.
It's a learning situation, isn't it? I wonder if any heads will roll. Like in the old, I don't think they're going to be executed.
Literally. We don't still do that.
No, we don't. No. Let's just make that clear. Yeah.
This is a huge generalisation, but I would say Americans are typically more comfortable with talking about health issues than the British are. In Britain, it tends to happen behind closed doors, I think, just with the immediate family. Americans will sit and talk to you for ages about their latest visit to the doctors or their health concerns.
They do,
They're very open about it, all areas, they're very open about it. So I wonder if that's one reason why they couldn't quite understand why this didn't come out sooner.
They see our royal family as something unique and has such high status. It's way above the Kardashians.
Saying something out here.
What are your thoughts about America in particular, but all over the world, about this huge emphasis on celebrity culture?
Very often these people are kind of dehumanized in the eye of the public. They're seen as kind of fair game. People will say things like, well, they chose to be famous. They chose to do this or do that or pursue a career in the public eye. Of course, you can't say that for every royal, can you?
Not for every royal, no, because it was foisted upon them, isn't there? But even when, like Harry wanted to get away from that, that didn't go too well either.
No, if you leave, you are also... we know that when you're born a royal, you can't really escape it. Even before we had things like the internet, for example, during the time of Edward VIII and Wallis Simpson, it was a huge scandal, a worldwide scandal. It followed them around for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, and obviously the same thing applies to Harry and Meghan.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have not viewed that very favourably at all. As an aside, I thought it was interesting that Meghan Markle, before Kate's announcement, but decided to push forward on her Instagram business release.
Well, there's a good reason we don't usually talk about Meghan on this channel, and it's because we tend to have different opinions on her. I don't want us to erupt into a frenzy about it.
No, we won't.
But all I would say is, as horrendous as this situation is, life still goes on. It's very easy to say, you know, the timing was awful, but there's always some kind of royal something or other going on, and people have to continue living their lives. To be honest, I didn't even know that she had released a new business or whatever it is that she's done until Piers Morgan started ranting about how terrible it was. People who keep talking about it are only promoting her. I've been to check it out now. So thank you, Piers.
So how do you think this announcement will now be viewed against those conspiracy theories that have been raging in the press for the last few weeks?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if we all just completely forget about the last few weeks in the light of this news. You know, it kind of seems irrelevant now, doesn't it?
Yes.
Compared to the weight of what has actually been happening and how much it makes sense that she would require privacy and not come out and explain right away. You know, how could you? I think this is one of the big problems about the way the monarchy works, is because a huge amount of taxpayers' money actually goes towards supporting the monarchy, and that leads people to feel like they are entitled to this information about them.
Indeed. And I hope that one good thing may come of this is that it gets people talking about this. There's so many people that have cancer. I think I read somewhere that 1 in 2 people will be affected.
Yeah, obviously I think this is going to affect a lot of people very personally, not just because perhaps they love the royal family and they love Kate, but because their family has been through something similar. It's unfortunately quite relatable for quite a lot of people.
She sent out a message to say you're not alone, we're all there together. So I think that's a very human aspect, and I hope that's the outcome that people will focus on. Do you think now that they will be given some privacy?
I hope so. I mean, God, if anyone deserves it any time it's during something like this. Unfortunately, the British media are just ruthless, as we saw with Diana and Meghan. They will do anything to get that headline and get that story. I mean, I think it is a bit different for Kate. I think there is more respect, and I hope they will get the privacy, but I doubt it. A few days ago, before this announcement came out, there was concern, I think, that this was the beginning of the end for our royal family, that actually they were now a laughingstock, really. They'd lost a lot of integrity, they'd lost a lot of respect. People were asking me how I would feel if that was to happen out here in America. In light of this news that has come out about Kate's diagnosis, do you think that's still the case?
I don't think it is now. I think there's going to be such an outpouring of support for Kate and also for King Charles, who's also going through a cancer diagnosis. So I think there's going to be a feeling of support and coming together and a calming down of the situation. As with regards whether we should still have a royal family, I like tradition. I think it's good for our country. It puts us apart from other countries and puts us in a positive light. Although they haven't got the political clout that some people think they have. I think there is a balance there.
They do have a role, absolutely. Seeing how when things like this happen within the royal family, how uncertain it can make British life. You know, they're kind of like a constant in the lives of many British people, something familiar, and as you say, something traditional and something that helps give people identity. I don't want to sound heartless, but they are good for our economy. They bring an awful lot of tourism into the country. Every time there's a royal wedding or any kind of royal event, then it is good for our economy. But on the flip side, I can see why people get rubbed up the wrong way when we still have people going around in gold carriages, but we also have people who are homeless that we can't help and support. So I think it's a very complex issue. I do think it needs to continue to evolve if it's going to survive. I think that was what a lot of people saw was so great about William and Kate. They're kind of like this breath of fresh air, apart from all the stuffy traditions that are so often associated with the royal family and then being kind of above everyone else.
Yeah, they do seem much more down to earth, don't they? That's for sure.
They're personable and people relate to them. I think especially now people will relate to them.
But it would be interesting to know what you think. Please let us know in the comment section below. I'm sure most Americans are going to say we should keep the royal family.
Yeah, probably more percentage-wise than Brits, I would say.
Because Brits are paying for them.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're Brits
exactly, yeah, exactly.
So, but do we get our money's worth? I think a lot of the time we do. And there has been certain constraints on their spending, which is good, because a few years ago it cost us a lot more to have a royal family. But constant reform and review.
Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, then please give us a like. Maybe share with a friend and hit subscribe to follow us on YouTube.